What is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here with Greg. Man, we're back on a Sunday after a college football Saturday. We were talking before we got on, and we know the bias and the hatred towards our Hurricanes. That's just the way it is, but we're going to get past that. But as we get rolling, you guys start coming in, man. Just make sure you hit that subscribe. More importantly, hit that thumbs up just below our screen if you're watching on YouTube. Obviously, hit that share button, man. Spread the word to Cowboys Nation. We're getting this thing rolling. And, Greg, how are you feeling this morning? Are you there, Greg? What happened to you, Greg? You're frozen in time. Greg? Well, I'm going to have to see what happened to Greg. Greg froze up on me.
Good, feeling energized.
What happened to you? You there? You back?
Yeah.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. Got to get that internet right. I don't know what happened. You broke.
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling good about our Cowboys today. I just want us to go in there and play a clean game.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. We're gonna get this thing started. I think we got Mark is gonna be at the game. I'm pretty sure Cuts is at the game. We got boots on the ground. We got people feeling good, and hopefully the rest of you guys are out there. I'm disappointed. I am not gonna make it. It's just kind of lumped into Thanksgiving, and my daughter's away at college. She's gonna be coming home, so it just didn't work out on the family calendar the way it should. But I'll be watching in the cave. This is kind of like. Except last year, which our team, was injured, so I didn't go last year either. But typically, I always go to the Eagles game. It's a lot of fun. It's great hanging out with the fans, and really, Eagle fans are fun to hang out with as well. Believe it or not, so always have a good time. So I am missing not being there, but I'm going to be watching from the cave, and we're going to break down this game a little bit. Get your guys' thoughts. Want your opinion. One thing Greg and I were talking about as we get ready is, the Philly. The offense hasn't been doing too well. Their offense hasn't looked so hot, and something's gonna. I think they're gonna do something to try and jumpstart it. You got AJ Brown, stirring up the pot, and he's not happy. But I think something's gonna happen, and I think they're going deep. I think they're gonna attack the Cowboys early. First play. I think they're dropping a bomb to A.J. Brown. What do you think? How do you think the Eagles are going to start this game? You think they're going to want to attack us first?
Yeah, this morning, Mike, I was telling you earlier, I was thinking the same thing this morning when I woke up thinking about the game. I was thinking about the locker room talk with A.J. Brown and all that stuff that's going on with the Eagles and how they're winning, but they're playing a different slow game. And I said, you know what? Pray tell. We'll be the team that they decide to go Air Coryell like they did last year on today and just fly bombs all over the sky against us after all these games playing slow, methodical, and not throwing the ball. Will be the one game that they'll decide to just skyrocket that ball all day because our DBs are the weakest link on our team, and they know that.
Yeah, and the Cowboys – they waived Elam. He hadn't been doing too good, and then you see Revels back. I tell you, one of the guys that hasn't been talked about enough who's come back is Kalen Carson. He's actually, I think he's done a pretty solid job in his return back to the lineup. Obviously, Deron Bland had a good bounce back game versus the Raiders after a little bit of struggle. I think it was a little overrated. I think they attacked the other cornerback more than they attacked Bland in that game, but. The secondary, Hooker looked better. You're seeing the health back. So hopefully the secondary will be able to hold up because these are two very good receivers that the Eagles have. Obviously, Dallas Goedert, you got the tight end. So they do have the weapons, but it's just crazy. You look at all these weapons that the Eagles have, and they're ranked near the bottom in offense, near the bottom in points per game. They've been winning very close games with just a top-notch defense. And that's the part that always scares you. Their defense, their defensive line, more than their secondary. I think their secondary is a little overrated. But I think their defensive tackles, and I was on a show, and I said, maybe Jerry, maybe they took a page from Philly. They're seeing between Carter and the boys, that they're just getting that pressure up the middle and wrecking havoc. Cowboys go out and they get Quinnen Williams. Obviously, you got Osa. They get Kenny Clark. And I never would have thought I would say it in a million years that the strength of this defense is the defensive tackles. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? That was the weakness. So how do you see the Cowboys defending that pass rush and that just up the middle, up the gut presence that the Eagles have to dominate the line of scrimmage.
Well, I always said when we're playing and we're running, if it's not successful up the middle in the first series, go outside. You got minimum personnel on the outside. That Eagles pass rush up the middle is big, ferocious, and they squeeze. But if you go outside, you limit their versatility. Now they got to put more in the box to stop that run. And when they put more in the box, that leaves the backfield wide open for Pickens, Ferguson, and Lamb. So if we go outside more and get away from those jet plays around the back with Lamb, keep Lamb out of that. If you're gonna do that, put Turpin in. But go outside with the running game, and now you only happen to face either a corner or a nickelback or that defensive end on the end, and then you got more room to succeed. So, but I think the Cowboys are going to try to go in the air a lot more. They're going to run. They're going to try to establish a run because we got Malik Davis back, Kyer Elam. They waived him now that we got Kalen Carson back full time. Yeah. But I think we're going to try to do that air Coryell ourselves, and this may be one of those where you see it going this way, and then they're going that way, and we're going this way, and they're going that way. But both teams need to establish the run because if they establish the run, that limits the liability of throwing the ball. And if we stay in the box, if we rack up the box, that'll slow down Barkley, force him to throw the ball. And that's where our corners are going to have to step up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they do. And the one thing I would say with our offense, and you go back to that week 1 game, and Dallas against this defense, I mean, they were moving the ball up and down the field. They were running. They were passing at will. And you really didn't have George Pickens. I mean, George Pickens, that was his first game. I don't know if he had the connection and the trust from Dak Prescott yet, but you saw it when CD got hurt. He just took it to another level. So how they're going to defend George Pickens is going to be interesting, along with CD Lamb, along with Ferguson. Turpin is the one I'm just like, he's let me down a little bit offensively. I expected some bigger splash plays from him. Just hasn't really seen it. I think Flournoy, he has kind of stepped up to me saying, I want to see him at that wide receiver 3 spot. Now, use Turpin in some gadget plays and some, try and get a splash play with him. I get it because of the speed, but it's going to be a different wide receiver group for this Cowboys team against this Eagles secondary. And I think it favors the Cowboys heavily.
Yeah. But one thing I noticed about Turpin, I've watched a lot of plays downfield when they do the replay. Turpin's been open downfield. I've seen him where he's been wide open downfield, up the middle slant. He's been wide open. Dak just didn't go to him. I don't know if it's because they're so heavily designed to go to Pickens and Lamb, because it's successful and it's working and it's getting the yards we need. That when they decide to go to Turpin, it's almost one of those. Well, when you go to Turpin, you're not going to him regularly, so that route just didn't happen to be open. Now, the thing about Turpin that I'm starting to look at is his confidence is kind of fading on the punt returns, the kickoff return. Because if you notice, when he gets the ball, you can tell he's trying to line up where he wants, what hole he might want to go through or make a quick slant to another hole, and he can't get it going. So his confidence is kind of eroding on that. And he walks off the field where he's feeling like, man, something's not right. I'm not hitting it. And if I was him, just relax, get that ball and run and just let your natural effort take over. But I've seen him downfield, wide open, several times. He's just been missed because when you got people like Pickens and Lamb, I mean, Turpin becomes a commodity and not a primary receiver. So gadget plays for him, yes, but make sure you put him in gadget plays where in previous plays that you watch film on, he was open. He was open.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And just kind of looking at it, on the other side with our defensive line against their offensive line, Lane Johnson, their best tackle, he's out, and they're banged up on the offensive line. How do you see our defensive line against their offensive line? Again, game 1, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure, a whole lot of going on. They played well. That was probably the best game our defense played the season until obviously last week when they got all the new guys in. But Do you see the Cowboys being able to capitalize on that? The addition of Quinnen Williams and obviously Osa and Kenny Clark really clogging up that middle and getting that pressure in front of in the face of the quarterback. But I've also seen Ezeraku has been progressively better and better and better, and he is wrecking havoc over the last couple games. And also you've seen Clowney, making some plays and doing what he does. So what's your thought about this defensive line going up against that offensive line? Do you see any advantage for the Cowboys there?
Yeah. First of all, I don't know if Clowney's going to play today. I think Clowney might be out. But I see our defensive line. I see our defensive line having a good game because I know Shoddy and Eberflus, they're concentrating on stopping Barkley because they know if Barkley gets loose, then there's no need for them to go air Coryell. Barkley can run us over. They're going to load the box and they're going to stop Barkley, which is going to force Hurts to get that ball out to the receivers. But the problem Hurts might face, which I'm hoping he does, is because of this reinvented defensive line we have, the pressure that he'll receive will force him to either get it out quick, and so that means the bomb won't be available as often as he wants, or he'll have to use his legs. That first game we played him, he basically defeated us with his legs. He got like 63 yards and 2 touchdowns on his legs. Bar that, we win that game and a couple of drops by Lamb. But if we didn't have this reinvented defensive line then. So now we put pressure on him and he has to get rid of that ball quick or he has to run. And then if we keep stacking that box and we keep Barkley, we will force them to have to throw the ball, but not force them to throw the ball with a lot of time. Because this defensive line with Quinnen Williams, these guys are getting in there putting more pressure on the quarterback than we previously had. So they got to play a different game. So it's going to be Barkley first to see if Barkley can penetrate our defensive line. And if he's not as successful as he hasn't been this year, because I think he's got only like 600 yards by now.
Yeah, he's averaging under 4 yards a carry.
Yes, he was on a 2,000-yard a career last year. Then they have to throw. But when they have to throw, because the defensive line is playing so well, they're going to have to get it out quick.
Yeah, and I think, Andrew, great point. Overshown wasn't there. Overshown is back. Yeah, do you use him to kind of contain and keep Hurts in the pocket? Because he, like to your point, he killed us that first game. And I think he's more dangerous with his legs than with his arm. I mean, it's not a knock on him. I just think he's such a good elusive runner, not, a ton of speed, but he's shifty and he's a big kid. He's strong and maybe getting overshown, obviously kind of keeping an eye, but gap integrity, keeping your lanes, not letting him flush out and just have 15 to 20 yards of open space to run the ball. Maybe they look to use Overshown in that kind of scheme a little bit to kind of keep him going.
Yeah, and after that first game, where Overshown got back in there and a little timid, trying to get his legs up on him, trying to get his confidence back because of his injury. This game, he'll probably loosen up a little bit more because Barkley loves, if he can penetrate a hole, the first thing he tries to do is get outside. If he get outside, he knows he's one-on-one with corners and DBs, and it's hard to bring that little moose down with corners and DBs. So Barkley is going to definitely try to penetrate the outside line and get outside. And if Overshown is there to stop that, then it forces him up the middle, and we got a big clog up the middle that can keep him contained. So Hurts, to me, is not in his mojo like last year. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. Last year, he was in that groove, that mojo. It was just fluent. This year, it's not quite that way. And I think, and yes, he's a professional, but I think all of this locker room talk, the fact that the receivers want him to force the ball down the field, his new offensive coordinator whose style is not that, I think Hurts is trying to satisfy A.J. Brown in games and throwing balls to him when he's not open or overthrowing him just to satisfy him and keep that locker room jogging down, but at the same time trying to play the game that the new offensive coordinator wants. And then Hurts is not confident that all of that is working fluidly. So with that, Hurts is going to have to use his legs tonight. today, and he's still going to try to force some passes, I think, to A.J. Brown that are not quite there because of all of that talk and all that pressure he's feeling. He feels some of this pressure. He knows that A.J. Brown feels like he should throw the ball to him more. And with that, he might force some passes to him that are errant and might give us an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy with the talent that they have that they're one of the worst offenses in the NFL. And it's just crazy. Their defense have obviously carried the load for them, but I mean they're averaging 300 yards a game. I mean, they're not an explosive offense with all of that talent. To your point with Hurts, how do you not hear all the chatter between A.J. Brown in the locker room and just kind of those little statements that he's making? And then, like you said, he talked about, Saquon Barkley must be struggling and this one. And it's just not good for the locker room. Good for Dallas, good for Dallas, because I think that's turmoil. And that's why I said I think they're going to try and attack early to try and get everyone in a good vibe on the offense, because I think if they do go 3 and out, if it is run, pass, punt, run, pass, punt, and you get a few of those series like that, I think the pressure is just going to continue to mount. And I think the battle within that offensive group is just going to get bigger and bigger. And this is a big stage. I mean, you're playing Dallas. It's a big TV game. It's going to be big on the ratings. So ESPN, the NFL, they're going to be all over it. So if the Eagles don't have a great showing, and let's say they just lose the game and the offense struggled again, you got to know the talking heads are going to be all over the place. And the thing I would say with Philadelphia, they have no compassion, no margin for error, no sympathy. Their fans will turn on that team at a flip of a coin, and they don't even think about it. I mean, when they had that kind of after that Super Bowl, and then they had that bad year, the first one, they wanted Hurts's head, they wanted Sirianni's head, they wanted everyone fired when they had that collapse. Now, I give them credit. There's some passionate fans, and they take no nonsense, but thankfully, I guess for the Eagles, they didn't make all those rash decisions and those knee-jerk reactions, because it ended up working out for them in the end. But that's the thing, the pressure that those fans give that team. If they don't have a good showing against Dallas, the pressure is going to flip from Dallas over to Philly. And now these games, and now who's Philly got next? And now, are they going to collapse? Is this one going to turn into 2? There's a lot riding for both teams. I think for Dallas has to win, right? They have no margin for error. I said it before, and we'll get into it. They've got to put a big run if they have any even just hope of sneaking into the playoffs. But how important do you think this game is for the psyche of the Eagles if they were to lose? What do you think would happen?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge for the Eagles, because playing against us at this point of the season, knowing how close that first game was in Philly, when we did everything to win, they did everything to lose, but we end up giving it up. Playing this game, this part of the season, this is the litmus test for where they're going to go for the rest of the season, and if they're going to make a big run, changing the dynamics of their offense to the playoffs. It's hard to repeat Super Bowls. It's hard to repeat. And Philly knows that. And Philly is feeling that pressure as well, not only from the fans, not only from the media, but from their own ownership and their own players. And like A.J. Brown said, we might be winning right now the way we're doing it. But getting in the playoffs, we're not going to win doing this. And he was right. He's sending a signal. He is right. But they haven't changed. And I'm telling you, the finger pointing is directly at that new offensive coordinator. That people have no idea how much of a difference it makes when you go from an offensive coordinator that you had last year that took you to the Super Bowl, and his whole concept when he was with us was throw that ball, gaps, windows. And that's what they did last year. This offensive coordinator is more vanilla. He knows he has a defense. He knows he has a championship team. He knows he doesn't have to run the wheels off of it. So he's like, I'm going to pace this team. Okay, we're winning. We're running little. We're not running like we want to. We're not passing like we want, but we're winning. So I'm just going to go with that. Well, you can stick with that all you want. This part of the season is where you got to ratchet up. And if they ratchet up against us today and go Air Coryell, then it'll send a signal to that team and the rest of the league that we have now gone back to the Philly of last year. If they don't, and they play us today the way they've been playing everybody this season, and we mollywop them, they're going to be in trouble for the rest of the season because their locker room is really going to implode against losing against the Cowboys because of our record and what they think they can do coming to Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is, Dallas has the number one pass offense in the NFL. Philly's near the bottom. But if you look at, if you look at the average, the average per attempt, they're above Dallas. So the passes they throw typically are air passes. They're, big plays down the field. They don't do a lot of short intermediate passes. I mean, I don't know if Hurts just doesn't like it or whatever, but most of their passes are deep. So to your point, I mean, Dallas, the secondary just has to hold their own against them. Defensive line, keep their gap integrity, get that pressure on them. Do not let Hurts beat you with your legs. And it's going to be a problem for them. And that is really going to define the game. It's going to be won in the trenches on both sides, because I think if you're going to go after Dallas, the way you beat Dallas is you wreak havoc up the middle. That's the part that would make me nervous being a Cowboys fan is, all right, that's their strength. And we've got a good interior line with Tyler Smith. Booker's been playing really good and getting better and better as a rookie. BB is back, right? So it's strength against strength. Their strength is their defensive line. Our strength on our offense is our interior defense or interior offensive line. If we hold our own, it's over. I mean, if you give Dak Prescott the time, Pickens and Lamb they're going to have a field day amongst the other, because there's no way that they're going to be able to hold them down. But if they get that pressure up the gut and they're in Dak's face and he's not able to step into his throws and he starts getting happy feet, which quarterbacks do. It's not just Dak, but every quarterback, Peyton Manning, that was the way teams beat him, man. You get him in his face early. Anyway, Brady, all the quarterbacks, they do not want you in their face, and they want a clear pocket. And if that's where the game's going to be won. So if you want to watch it, man, it's going to be right there in that little box. You're going to figure out who's going to win this game.
Yep. And from Philly's side on the defensive backs, the only defensive back they have that not shut down, but he's good, is Quinyon Mitchell. Yeah. The one on the other side, I forgot his name. Who are their quarterbacks? Dallas is going to target that other DB all night long. Quinyon Mitchell can't check two premium wide receivers. He can't. Yeah. And he won't be able to shut them both down either. So the other corner is going to get exploited in this game, let alone Ferguson going up that gut and Dak hitting them right over the linebacker. So the offense should be on fire today. And Hurts, one of his biggest assets when he gets out the pocket, other than running the ball, which scares me, AJ has a knack of going downfield when they knew they were on a passing play and they were looking deep for Devontae or AJ and they can't find them. Hurts will go outside the pocket. And just when you think he's going to run out of bounds because we got him contained, at the last second, he'll throw it right down the sideline. And who comes out of nowhere coming back to the ball? AJ. And AJ always comes back leaning out of bounds like this, because him and Hurts work on it a lot, that when I get in a scramble and if they got me contained and I got to go out of bounds, you always come back to me, AJ, and I'm going to throw it to you out of bounds. And AJ has a knack for precisely keeping those toes inbound, leaning outside and catching that ball. And it's predominantly on big third down plays or fourth down and 5 if they go. It's always when AJ goes up and comes back and Hurts hits him on the sideline outside when nobody can get to the ball, but AJ can and gets that first down. You watch those plays. I've noticed he throws a lot of those patterns to AJ when he's scrambling, because AJ always comes back on that sideline with hands out to here, and Hurts puts it right there on the dime where it needs to be. And it's it's been a game changer for several teams that played them late in the fourth quarter when it looked like they had the Eagles on a 4th and 9, or they had the Eagles on a 3rd and 15. And it's like, oh, Hurts is going to have to run out of bounds, throw it away. And here comes AJ out of nowhere, bam, on the side. So we got to be on
absolutely. Absolutely. I want to get to the running game too, because it is surprising that Dallas has a better run game than Philly. I mean, and that includes Jalen Hurts. I mean, they're averaging as a team less than 4 yards a carry. Dallas is averaging 4.7. So I'm going to get to the run game, but we had a question in the chat. So I always like to try and get these in, especially on our casual Sunday morning show. But, Mike asked on Twitter, definitely appreciate you watching us. Make sure you get over to, and you probably are, get over to YouTube and hit that subscribe and thumbs up too, if you're watching. But how would you rate Shotty's coaching this season, coaching up this season? I think, just my opinion, and want to get yours and you guys in the chat. He's done a very good job of the locker room, right? I think controlling the locker room. I think they play hard. I think he's got them prepared most of the time. It hasn't been perfect. I think there's some games where I question some of the decisions. I question some of the logic. But in his first year coaching, I think he's done a really good job. I mean, obviously it's not an A because the Cowboys aren't, they're not in first place and running away. But I think I'd give him a B so far. And I think I give him a B overall. I think there's some areas you probably give him a C. Some areas you might give him an A. But I think overall you give him a B. He's done well. I think he just really connects with this team. And I think he's made some good decisions. He's been aggressive when he needed to be, but he's been a little too conservative when you want him to be a little aggressive. So I think he's kind of finding his way, but I think it was a great hire. Looking back on it, I wasn't for it, but as it kind of grew, it's kind of when it grew on me. And he just seems like the right guy for this team and for this Cowboys organization. What's your thoughts, Greg, so far?
Yeah, to be fair, I would give him a B- because it's his first season with him. Jerry didn't quite give him the full commodity of talent that he needs in DBs. I will always talk about our DBs. That is our weakest link, is the DBs. Yes, before Quinion Williams, we didn't put pressure on the quarterback, which can exploit any DBs.
Yeah.
But even when we did put pressure on quarterbacks, our DBs were exploited, and they're still getting exploited. And if Shotty was given a full complement of talented players with his culture design, with his way of connecting with the players, with his locker room cohesiveness, then I would upgrade him to probably maybe a A-. But he doesn't have all the talent he needs back there in the DBs, which is a critical aspect for our team now that we shored up the defensive line. So he can only do what he can do with what he has. Yeah. And until he gets that full complement, based on what he brings personally to the team, he's doing a good job. Yes, at first I was like, here we go again. He's going to the lowest hanging fruit to get a coach that he doesn't have to go out there and get somebody who's well proven. But Shotty, his biggest asset is the culture he brought to the Cowboys, which we needed more than anything to start off as a base. He's changed that. And that makes a difference in the locker room, motivation of players, the desire to want to play for that coach, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Jerry, give him the full complement of talent he needs in the backfield as far as the DBs. And I think Shotty can take it to the next level.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking at Eberflus, not to go heavy on him, I give him an incomplete. I'm just going to be honest with you, because he was he wasn't given a full complement of players to work with early on in the season. Let's see how he does this last half, because now you've got Overshown, you've got Quinn and Weaves, you got Revel, you got your defense, they're your best players in there now. Let's see how he does this last half of the year. If they continue to struggle, then you got to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, man, is this scheme right for this kind of defense? If the defense plays better and continues to prove each week, then you got to say, you know what, let's give him another year, because you don't want to keep cycling through coordinators. You want to try and keep some continuity in there, because then you're starting all over again. So I'm not going to kill Eberflus yet. I'm giving him an incomplete. This is really where I'm going to grade him this last half of the year and see where he's at. But let's get back to the running game, because this is important. I mean, I'm a running guy, man. You know, hey, Greg, we're old school. I mean, we're Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith. You run the football. That's football 101. The Dallas Cowboys are right at, let's say, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right about 12th in the NFL in rushing. 1,200 yards, 4.7 yards a carry. That it used to be the old school number was 4.0. That's what you want to be. 4 yards a carry. That was kind of the gold standard as a team. The Eagles, which blows my mind because you have Hurts counting in the run game, but they're averaging 3.9 yards a carry, 1,152 yards. So they have one of the lower ranked. They're right in the middle of the pack, but when you look at yards per carry, they're near the bottom of the NFL, which shocked me. There was no way when I pulled these numbers up, I would see that, but they're struggling to run the football as a team. Has been running the ball very well as a team. And I think we all agree, if you want Dak at his best, you run the football. How do you see the Cowboys running the football against this Eagles defense? They've run the first game. They ran the ball very well. Obviously, Carter wasn't in the game. How much of a difference I would make? I'm sure it makes some. But Dallas has been able to run the football. How do you see Dallas running the football against this defense and vice versa? How do you see the Eagles running the football against our defense? Because they struggled against our crap defense. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Both teams are going to try to establish the run. I mean, that's the heart and soul of every coach. That's the heart and soul of every game. Establish the run. You establish a run. You start forcing the defense to load up the box. When they load up the box, you got that less amount of people back there in the back. Now you can throw the ball to whoever you want because the windows are open wider, the gaps are open, and there's more room to throw the ball. And then when they fade back, then you run it again. If we are successful, Javonte Williams, we got Malik Davis back now for this game. If we're successful running, we won't have to throw that ball that much. And when we do throw the ball, it's going to be open because Philly is going to try to put a nickel in there and stack the box a little bit more to stop the run when they're expecting it. And then we throw the ball. And now Philly's got which one are we going to stack the box? Which one are we going to stay back? Because they got 2 premium wide receivers. They got some hell of tight ends, and they got Turpin. So when are we going to stack the box? Oh, well, Dallas was running the ball a lot on us and successful. They have no choice but to stack the box and take a chance on throwing the ball, which we will. Now, Philly's going to do the same thing. I don't want this game to be the game that Saquon Barkley finally gets his legs up under him, and it's all of a sudden Saquon wasn't getting that much, wasn't averaging that much all season. Now this game, Saquon went off. Because look at what happened last year. Saquon and Derrick Henry ran the league in the ground. This year, neither one of them are doing it. Their offensive coordinators have changed up their styles. Instead of going with what was working, both of them changed up their style. And then last year, Jonathan Taylor, you didn't even hear anything about him. He's killing it. He's killing it because he's running the ball like Saquon and Henry did last year. I don't want our game today to be the fixed game for Philly, that they finally get all that locker room chatter out the way. They finally get Saquon back running like he was last year. They finally get Eric Coryell going the way they want. I don't want that today. And if we, in our defensive line, with those additions, should be able to prevent that today. So when they try to run that ball with Barkley, if they're not as successful like they want, you better believe the pressure on that offensive coordinator for Philly is going to be on, and Hurts is going to be forced to throw some balls that he does not want to throw, and it may benefit us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you see the Cowboys? You know, we're so used to, hey, run to set up the pass.
Yeah.
Could you see a scenario today where Dallas is going to pass to set up the run? Do you see the Cowboys maybe attacking early, being more, throwing the ball early, or do you think they are going to run to set up the pass? How do you see the Cowboys' first couple possessions? Because usually those first couple possessions kind of give you the feel of the game. And I always tell people, I can tell you if the Cowboys are going to win or lose within 5-7 minutes of the game. You can just get a vibe. Dallas is a team that they play best when they're getting going early. If they struggle a lot early, it just seems to snowball for whatever reason with them. So how do you see the Cowboys offense starting off? Do you think it's pass to set up the run, or do you think they're going to run to set up the pass?
I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see them start the game like the Detroit Lions started the game this season. I forgot who they beat. When they came out in the first series, and if you're sitting at home, if you're a fan, pay attention to this. You sitting at home, you're a fan. Your team is on, and the first series comes up. You're kind of relaxed. You got your beer, you got your food. The first thing you're looking at is, okay, they're probably going to run the ball a couple of plays and then throw, because it's boring at first. No, what I want to see the Cowboys do come out, I want to see them do what the Lions did when they came out. First play, boom, and all day long, cross the middle, outside, downfield. That's what and then go to the run when you need to. If Dallas does that, because they know Philly's coming to town, the last thing we need is a slow grinding game. Because what kind of games has Philly been winning all season?
That's what they love.
Slow grinding game. Come out and air Coryell they ass, hit the windows, go long, go outside, shake them up so much to where they got to lean back and put somebody back there in the linebackers and put 3 people back. And next thing you know, then run the ball up the gut. But if we go out there the first play and we start running the ball, we're telling them we're going to play a vanilla game. And I don't want that. I want us coming out slinging. We got the most premium receivers in the league. We got tight ends, Flournoy, Spanford, Turpin. Oh, my God, Tolbert, Perrion. Throw the damn ball. Throw it. Dak, you ready. And when you throw the ball, Dak, you don't have to sit back there and wait. And if we do that coming out, like the Lions do when they go out there, when Campbell took over the play calling, and Campbell just said, I'm going to start throwing that ball again. We do that, we will put these boys on their heels early.
Yeah. Well, let's see, man. We got K9 in the house. He must have been hearing a lot of chirping, we got him in the chat chirping up. They didn't like what you had to say. I saw that video that we posted that went a little viral on you. The Eagle fans are very upset. Maybe they want a piece of you. And you say, I'm coming to the cave right now and speak what you want. What do you think, Kelly?
What's up, fellas? What's up, fellas? I don't get up early very often, but I was up early today because, they say the early, what is that? The early bird gets the worm. Well, that motherfucking bird ain't getting no goddamn word. That bird's getting an ass whooping today at AT&T Stadium at 325, baby. Y'all come on down. Y'all come on down to AT&T. We gonna show you some of that Texas hospitality. But just understand that Texas hospitality sometimes has to include a little bit of discipline. And Daddy Dak Prescott gonna have to pull off that belt because Philadelphia have been getting really loud lately. And now it's time for Dak Prescott to bend all over his knees and remind you who runs the NFC East. Say what you want. Dak Prescott owns the NFC East, and he's going to continue his reign today at AT&T Stadium when Philadelphia comes to town, and we roll out the red carpet just to whoop that ass, pack them back up, and send them on back down to filthy.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I think Dak is 21-2 at
21-2.
He's 6-1 against the Eagles at home. I think he's won 18 home games against the division, so he hasn't lost in a long time, if that stat is correct. It's been a while since he's gotten beat. So, I mean, how do you see this game breaking down? We've talked about would you pass to set up the run? Would you attack if you're Dallas early on offense going up against that tough defense of the Eagles?
Well, I think that's a good idea because, I mean, here's the thing. Philadelphia's offense has been struggling. So if you can come out and you can be aggressive and you can get up on them early, then I think that you can. Then at that point, I think that you can kind of pin your ears back on defense and let these guys do what they do. Let Quinnen Williams and them out there and just bring the house. You know what I mean? And just put pressure on Jalen Hurts, force him into mistakes. He hasn't made too many mistakes this year. I'll be honest. He hasn't made too many. I think he only has 2 interceptions this year.
I think it's one.
Is it just 1 interception? Okay, so like he takes care of the ball. It'd be nice to get that, to force that offense into a turnover. I mean, obviously you can't turn the ball over a lot when you're, the check down merchant. But the thing is that the Cowboys, if they get aggressive offensively and they can get up early, we've seen what this Cowboys team does when they get up early. They let's just face it. A lot of times this Cowboys team has been a what I would call a front running team, just because if they don't get up early and they get down early, they tend to kind of crumble and fall apart, and they do. And they just have not been able to figure out how to bounce back when they get hit in the mouth. if they come out and they're the ones swinging, which I think they will in this game, then they tend to play very well, because then it's just kind of like an avalanche, and it's like that ball that starts rolling down the hill that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think if the Cowboys come out aggressively and yes, start throwing the ball, because the thing that I look to at this matchup is that Pickens was not involved in that first matchup. It was week 1. He still wasn't really involved in the offense. Dak was heavily involving CeeDee Lamb in that. You didn't really get much from Pickens at all. That's going to be different today. Now Pickens is seemingly the go-to guy when Dak needs a big play. He's looking Pickens' way a lot, but that can open things up for CeeDee Lamb too, because right when you start sleeping on CeeDee Lamb, he can come out and have himself a hell of a day. Because that's the benefit of having 2 number 1 receivers, is that you right when you think you know what's going to happen, the opposite going to happen, and then CeeDee Lamb going to hit you with a couple. So yeah, I think Schottenheimer needs to come out and be aggressive. I would definitely come out slinging the rock.
Yeah, no, you have to. And if you're Philly, looking at them, their offense has struggled, and they've got AJ Brown, and you got, he's chirping a little bit. Do you see them coming out? I said, I think the first play they're throwing a bomb. I think they're going to try and attack early, throwing the ball deep. So do you think they're going to follow the same kind of pattern and just try and attack early and get away from that conservative offensive play calling they've done and try and jumpstart? Because like you said, Dallas struggles when they are behind and their things aren't going well. You get into a little bit of a panic mode, it seems like. Do you see the Eagles trying to do the same thing early?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's why, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where all week we've been hearing that, the offense is struggling, the offense is conservative, this and that, It could definitely be right up their alley to let Jalen Hurts try to have a big game on us passing the ball. But that could prove fatal for him. I'm just going to say that, because they may want to do that. They may not be able to do that though, because I think this Dallas secondary also looks different this time around. And I mean, we did good the first time around. The secondary didn't look bad the first time around. Hell, we put clamps on both Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. So and now thank God we don't have Kyrie Elam out there right around. He's finally been cut. Thank God he's out of here. It's gone. But no, I mean, I think that Philadelphia may try to come out and because I mean, they're not running the ball very well with Saquon right now. And Dallas has been, let's face it, there's a lot of quarterbacks that has made this Dallas secondary look terrible. And I'm not going to take anything away from those 2 receivers, and they got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Those guys can hurt you. And Hurts has shown the ability to have some of those big plays. So yeah, I mean, I think you do come out slinging it if you're Philly, because right now, what do they got to lose? I mean, they're first in the NFC East. They're first. I think they're the number 1 seed in the NFC period right now. So I mean, why wouldn't you play aggressively? Because if you lose this game, it doesn't really hurt you. You still got the NFC East pretty much on lock. I mean, Cowboys ain't going to win the NFC East. So why wouldn't you
this loss? Could you see? Like I said earlier, Philly fans are unique, and they make me laugh, and I appreciate the passion. They're on edge, and everything that's going on with AJ and stuff. Do you see, if they had a bad performance against a Dallas team that everyone says they should beat, right? I mean, they should beat them. We got 4 wins or whatever. Do you think that could kind of create some internal turmoil and really start to give them some trouble down the stretch and put a little bit more pressure on them, or no?
I mean,
I'm not talking about the East. I'm just talking about them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it could. We've talked about the fact that Philadelphia looks like they're a team that's on the verge of like imploding. You know what I mean? With AJ Brown, if they get their asses whooped today, and if AJ Brown's not involved into this game heavily, you know what I mean? Then I mean, I could definitely see AJ Brown. This could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Now, do I think it would be enough to have them, collapse and choke down the division? I don't, just because I think their defense is good enough that's going to keep them in games, and that's going to be able to keep them to where they're going to be able to still win games. Because I mean, look at it; they haven't been having offensive explosions. They're winning games on the backs of their defense right now. They're not winning games on the arm of Jalen Hurts. They're not winning it, off the hands of AJ Brown or Devontae Smith or the legs of Saquon Barkley. It's their defense. Their defense is winning them games. keeping them in tight games, and the fact that Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over, that is what's helping them win the games. Because the thing is if this Philly offense is forced into some turnovers, and if you can force them into some turnovers, those tight games turn into losses. So that's been a benefit to to them. I mean, credit to Philly for being able to stay in these close games and finding ways to win. But I think that if you get Philly looking down the barrel like what this Dallas Cowboys offense can do, and you turn this game into a shootout, I don't think Philadelphia has the ammunition to keep up in a shootout. I just don't. I don't see that. They don't have the explosive plays on offense, and their offense just looks vanilla, honestly. Yeah. And I think this Cowboys defense can hold that offense down. I don't think their defense, as great as they are, as great as they've been, I don't think they got enough to hold the Cowboys receivers down, what we got right now.
No, I'd agree. What do you think about that, Greg?
Well, and I go back to the Rams game that Philly played. The Rams came out exploiting the passing game. They didn't come out and try to run all over them in Philly. They exploited the passing game. What did they do? They were up by almost 30 points before Philly had that miraculous comeback and blocked that field goal at the end of the game to win. But the Rams were throwing the ball, and Philly couldn't do anything about it because the Rams were throwing it everywhere with all the talent and receiving they had. And that's what we have to do. They want us to play a vanilla game because they want that grind game, slow game, so they can slow leak it and then pull it out in the fourth quarter. And their offensive coordinator, I don't think he has the finesse to be an Air Coryell type team. I don't think he has the finesse to coordinate that offense with the passing game like they had last year with Kellen Moore. He's just not that guy. They went from somebody who exploits the air to somebody who likes to do a common vanilla offense. And with the team that Philly has, their defense and the talent offense, they've been successful because of their defense, playing vanilla and grinding games out. If that guy adapts a Kellen Moore aspect and start throwing that ball, they will have a resurgence today and the rest of the season like they had last year, and nobody can stop it. And just like you were mentioning, let us beat Philly soundly today. And A.J. Brown was not a factor on their side. You think the volcano was rumbling. It's going to explode after this, because this is the high visibility Dallas Cowboys. This is a big game that Philly knows everybody's watching, and they know if anybody they play, they want to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And we come in there and exploit them today, and A.J. Brown wasn't that kind of aspect on their team today, you better believe he's going to be in the locker room. First question, he's going to be like, let me see how I'm going to say this. Then he's just going to scream, and that'll be it. But Philly would be forced not to cut him or trade him right now because of the season is so late in the game. But I'm hoping that's the turnout, because after this, we beat them today. I don't see Philly changing their style for the rest of the season, and they'll win the NFC East. But in the playoffs, they'll be one and done, because these other teams are doing something in the NFC when it's as far as throwing that ball that Philly is not doing, and they will not repeat.
Yeah. And I would say, looking forward, let's look a little bit forward, because I know, Kelly, you and I talked about it on the show Wednesday. Appreciate everyone. We got 500 people hanging in the cave, man. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, that like, subscribe, share if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're not, head over to YouTube, and then you can flip back to Twitter as well. But looking at the Cowboys, let's just kind of look forward, because there's 3 games in 11 days. And I think we talked, the Cowboys season is going to be probably defined within this 11 days. We're going to kind of know, do they have a prayer? And it is going to take a prayer for them to get back after the hole they dug themselves. Can they get back in the playoffs? So you got the Eagles, you got the Chiefs, you got the Lions. To me, their margin of error is they got to win 2 or 3. And if they win 2 or 3, then they got to run the table the rest of the way. Well, the 2 or 3 is their toughest games between the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions that they have left. They got tough games left, but these are the 3 that are going to kill them. Could you see the Cowboys pulling a miracle and winning 2 or 3? Or, where are you at with the Cowboys as far as moving forward, post Philly? If they win, now they just got to win one of the next 2. If they lose, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's probably going to be too late for them to dig themselves out of. And there's still, even if they win out, the odds are stacked a little bit against them. But Kelly, what do you think first? And then Greg, I'll let you finish up that.
Yeah, I mean, so I was watching a show the other day. I can't remember what it was. It was on ESPN, and they were talking about this game. And they were talking about this 3-game stretch, and that guy was saying that he picked Philadelphia, and then not only did he pick Dallas to beat Philadelphia, but not only did he do that, he goes, I'm going to just go one step further and say that I think this is the hardest game of the 3 that we play, or that they play, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with that, because you've got a Kansas City team that is kind of on the verge of, falling out of the playoff race, right? They're going to have to keep pace, but they're not looking like anything to really be super worried about. And then, Detroit's a team that also has, Philadelphia kind of just took care of them. So I think Dallas, as crazy as it sounds, literally after that Arizona game, if you would have told me, we probably were all looking at this thing like, man, these next 3 games are probably all losses. And now you're looking at it, and it's funny because all these people are like, oh, you beat the Raiders and you got confidence. You beat the Raiders and you got confidence. It's not that we beat the Raiders. It's how we looked against the Raiders. It's how this team looked when they did it, right? So now you're looking at this stretch and you're going, I can see this Cowboys team. I could see it as a possibility that we could win all 3 of these games. And that sounds nuts coming out of my mouth when I say it, but I really do believe we could win all 3 of these games. And that could seriously change the trajectory of this season if you do that. Because if you win these 3 games and you go on a 3-game win streak, 4-game win streak, you count in the Raiders here. This Cowboys team's confidence is going to be through the damn roof. And that's a team that if they squeak into the playoffs as a wild card spot, then nobody's going to want to play. I'm just being honest. If they go on this streak here and do that. Now, do we still got to play some good football? Are these still good teams? Yes. Can we slip up here, and could we end up losing a couple? Possibly. That is possible as well. This Cowboys team is a roller coaster ride that you don't ever know what you're getting into. You buckle up your damn safety harness, and you don't know if there's going to be a drop around the first corner or if you're going up a hill. You have no goddamn idea with this team. So could I see us going 0-3? Absolutely. Could I see us going 3-0? Yes, I could. So I don't really know, man, with this Cowboys team. But what I do know is I was encouraged by what I saw against the Raiders. This defense looks different. They look like they have some dogs in them. And then you just saw that the way that George Pickens played, and I believe that the way he plays is inspiring to this offense. I think that guy is an absolute dog of a man. He's got that dog mentality. And I saw a tweet the other day, and it made me laugh my ass off. It says George Pickens plays football like a kid with silver teeth. That's like, it just made me laugh because I'm thinking of this, this tough ass little kid, the kid that just bowling through everybody. Like, that's George Pickens' attitude. He's an absolute dog, and it's contagious on this offense. And I think when he gets playing like that, the rest of the team sees it, and that energy is brought. And then you got Quinnen Williams, and he's an absolute dog. The attitude of this team is what I'm seeing change. The attitude and the physicality. The team is looking like a team that they ain't gonna lay down for nobody. So I'm really encouraged by these next 3 games and what we will see out of this team, because I'm expecting some good things. I'm expecting this to turn a lot of people's opinions on this Cowboys team.
Yeah, I can see the Cowboys winning these next 3, because look at the teams that they're going to be playing. They're vulnerable. The Kansas City is vulnerable. J.J. McCarthy is not consistent. Move it on down to Herbert. Herbert is not consistent, and we have the Chargers number. So I can see us winning these next. And you're right, Kelly. Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson, quiet as it's kept, and especially Pickens. Those 3 players alone has energized the confidence in the rest of the players on the team, and has forced them to say, I need to play my best game, because look who I'm lining up against. And look who's on off. This dude is doing it on offense, so I'm going to do my part on defense. Oh, look who we got on defense. This guy's lighting it up. Even Kenny Clark, aside with Quinnen Williams, he's looking at him like, this is the way it's supposed to be, partner. This is the way we're supposed to do it. Now let's get everybody else on board. Then you got your rookies. You got Easy. And then you got Overshawn coming back.
Yep.
We're primed. Staying healthy. We're primed to go on a run. I know Cowboys Nation is probably saying, hey, no way in hell, we're probably going to lose the next 3. Look at who we're playing. Stop and look at who we're playing. Kansas City is at home. Great, thank you. And they're very vulnerable. Their identity is out right now. And remember what I told you last year, Mike? I said, they are starting to decline. You can see it in the Kansas City. their error is starting to decline. Minnesota thought they had a winning quarterback with J.J. McCarthy because he came back and beat the Bears late. But look, he's not consistent. He's young. He's not developed. So we get that. And the Lions, Campbell took over offensive coordinating that first game, and they blew people out. But then they play at home against Philly, and he's still being offensive coordinator. And what did he do? He did the mistake he did the year before last year in the NFC Championship that could have gotten him Super Bowl. And 5 times on 4th down, he goes for it and he blows it. He's going to continue to be that way. He said that's his mantra. He does that against us. We're going to take advantage of it. No way he's going to be successful all 5 times. And then you get to the Chargers. Herbert is here. He's there. And he's not consistent. We can go on a run, bar everybody stays healthy. The defense additions, that Pickens, we can go on a run right now and blow everybody's mind. A lot of commentators wouldn't be surprised because they see what we see. But we could go on a run right now, and we could probably squeak in there. We just don't need to lose the game like we did last year against the Bengals late when we had it won, against Washington when we had it won. And those two made the difference on a depleted, injury-riddled team. Still could have made the playoffs in spite of those 2 games. This time, we are fully healthy at this point. So there's no excuse. And we got premium new additions. We should be able to run right now. Came off a bye. Their confidence is high. They got a new perspective on life after the Nealon situation. They're together and unified. The culture is even tighter with Shoddy. I don't see why we wouldn't go on a run, and I don't see us regressing. So I'm looking forward to us moving. I mean, moving after the day and going forward. And let alone we blow out Philly today. It's going to be a riot.
I don't know if they're going to be a blowout, but I think they could win. But I would say is, you know, to Kelly's point, I'm not going to be surprised either way. I was in that building during that Monday night game, and I was telling this story. I was on a Philly podcast, Birds vs. Boys, and love those guys. Had a great time. And I'm sitting there watching this game, and I'm there with my wife. And my wife and I usually will pick 2 games to go to. The next one was Minnesota. So we originally were staying at just a cheaper hotel, and we're having a nice time. We're drinking, having some drinks in Frisco. And I said, you know what, babe? Let's get to Omni. We're gonna stay up in Frisco that weekend. Let's get, we're gonna get the field passes that we did in Arizona. I said, we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna have some fun. And then during the game, as this debacle's happening, I said, cancel that hotel, cancel the reservation, put my 2 tickets up for sale on StubHub because I'm done watching this shit. And Lord, I mean, it's amazing what a week does. And now I'm like, why did I sell my tickets? Now I want to go back, but I mean, it all could change the game. But that's the way the Cowboys have been, right? They're the cardiac Cowboys, as you used to call them, Kelly, all the time. You just don't know what to expect, and you do want some consistency. And I think with Quinnen Williams, I think with the additions they have on defense, that's the key. I see in the chat, well, if Dak does his job, they should win the next 3. No, the defense, we need this defense to be decent. It's on this defense, and it's on this team. And, of course, it's on Dak and the offense as well. But we need this team to come together. So I do see the Cowboys having an opportunity to win 2 or 3. I'll be honest, Patrick Mahomes, as long as Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback somewhere, that game scares the shit out of me. It was like my brother's a Broncos fan, and he said this week, he goes, I want the Chiefs to beat the Colts because that's going to help us get in the playoffs. I'm like, no. You do not want Patrick Mahomes. You want the Chiefs out of the playoffs. The last thing I'd want to see is the Chiefs in the playoffs. You want the Colts to beat him. You want Dallas to beat him. You want them out of here. But I think the Cowboys got a shot. But like I said, you just don't know until we see 2 wins. I want to see 3 wins. I want to see 4 wins. Until you start seeing that consistency, it's hard to truly buy in. But it's, hey, let's have a fun laugh at last half of the year. They're 1.5 games down from the playoffs. That half game, I think, is going to bite them in the ass, and I really just frustrates the shit out of me that they allowed that to happen. But that's just what I think.
Yeah, it's frustrating to see, because if this team does go on a run, one, you're gonna see 2 things that are gonna disappoint you. One is that you're probably gonna end up coming up just short of the playoffs, and you're gonna sit there and think about, damn, if Jerry could have made these moves just even a week earlier, you know what I mean? Just even 1 week earlier, right? Because you're like I said, you're probably going to end up falling short, and so that's going to be disappointing. And then also your draft pick is going to be a little bit higher than what you would want it to be, because at least if you're a team that's going to miss the playoffs, I want to have a good draft pick. So we're probably going to kind of piss that down our leg too. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it will be encouraging for for moving forward into what we'll see, to what this team will look like in 2026. But hey, listen, crazier things have happened, man. This Cowboys team could get on a run. You never know. This Cowboys team could get on a run. I heard some people talking about the fact that the Cowboys have that tie and saying that would actually bode in their favor coming down the stretch in terms of like a wild card deal, just because it would be one less loss. Mm-hmm. So and why it doesn't count as a win, it's also not a loss. So if they were to get to 9 wins,
see, 9 wins, I think kill them. 10 wins, I think it helps them, but I think 9 wins kill them, because I think you're looking at the schedule. Like the 7th seed right now has 7 wins.
Yeah,
and there's 6 or 7 games left. So you got to think if they went 500, that's 10 wins. I think Dallas has to get to 10 wins. In order to get to 10 wins, they gotta only lose 1 more game. So that's why I think the tie will. That was my thought on the tie. But go ahead, Kelly.
No, well, you're perfectly right. I mean, it could end up like that for sure. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, crazier things have happened in terms of what the Cowboys could end up doing if they were to end up going on a run here. Because, I mean, I don't know. I've just seen crazy things happen in the NFL. You can't count it out. But these next 3 games, they'll tell us a lot about this team.
Yeah,
if this team comes in here and
Kelly, remember 3-5 and they get the Cooper trade. They go on a huge run. They win the NFC East. The Eagles collapse. They basically choke that away. The Cowboys win, get a playoff game win, and then go against the Rams and obviously got run over literally. But we've seen it happen, to your point.
No, we have seen it happen. So I mean, I don't know. It starts today, man. It starts today. This is where you can take the rest of the season and take the rest of the season by the balls, man. And let the rest of the NFL know y'all ain't playing the Cowboys defense. This is a different defense than what you guys saw in the first half of the season. We ain't playing no more. We coming.
Yes.
Yep. And if our defensive line puts that pressure on Hurts and he has got to get rid of that ball early, Bland will be hungry. Kalen Carson will be looking. Ravel will be looking to solidify his position, because those 3 right there are solid right now, man. And we got Malik Hooker back today. So I'm telling you, man, I've already said all week that we're going to beat Philly. I just want to see how confidently we beat them to let me know what it's going to look like going forward. Because the team, man, the aura around the team now is that aura that you wanted to see earlier. And now they're just, you can see it. They're all in there for each other. And I just want that to be exploited today. And Carl, you can type in all caps all day long like you screaming. But you doing that because you know your Eagles are going down on one wing today. And when that happens, Philly hides. Touchdown. TikTok goes out of operation. Instagram no longer exists for the Eagles. Y'all shut down for a week and then you start living on the past. Well, start doing it right now. Because today in Arlington, it's going to be.
Well, I love it. And I don't know if there's anything else more that we need to say. We definitely appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat, man. We have 556 people hanging in the cave. We will be back. The thing about the cave is, hey, if we screw up, we don't hide. We're not going to go and hide for a week. We'll be back live again on Monday, again on Wednesday. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that like. We're going to see this thing through and see what happens. But I'll give you guys the final thoughts, Greg, and then of course got to wrap it up with Kelly. I don't know if he's got an inner Jerry. Looks like he's a little sick. I don't know what's going on, but maybe he has some final thoughts. Greg, go ahead and give your final thoughts on this game.
Cowboys Nation, although we're going to be on pins and needles today like we have been every game, biting nails, even your toenails, just keep this in mind. We will win this game today against Philly because we have to. We will win this game today against Philly because it's time. They are ripe for the picking. And after we win this game against Philly, everybody's confidence level is going to rise so high that I think the Cowboys go on a run. And this holiday season for the next 2 weeks is going to be in grand fashion for them Cowboys. We coming. Philly, we coming. So get them wings a flapping because you're going down on one wing this afternoon. It's bird hunting season, baby.
Kelly, final words.
Well, I want to just talk to Cowboys Nation for a second and let them know. In 4 days, we celebrate this great holiday called Thanksgiving. And on Thanksgiving, they like to serve up turkey bird. But today, we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving a little early because I'm bringing in some Philadelphia Eagles. And I wouldn't suggest eating them because those things probably are carrying some kind of disease that you don't want. But what we're going to do is we're going to feast on some birds today on the field. I'm talking about that new addition, Quinnen Williams, is going to have himself a feast. You remember John Madden? He used to talk about the turducken the whole game. He was drooling over that turducken. Well, Quinnen Williams has been drooling over getting his hands on one Jalen Hurts and tossing that man down to the ground with some of the most vicious intentions that we have seen in a very long time. So, Dallas Cowboys, in the words of T.O., get your popcorn ready.
I love it, man. That's how you end the show. Dallas Cowboys, Cowboys Nation, appreciate you hanging with us on a Sunday morning. It's game day. It's nothing better. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a battle, but I like our boys at home. I know Kelly likes the boys at home. Greg, the rest of you guys, we're going to get this thing done, and we'll see you guys later, man. Let's go, Cowboy.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.